Okay, this is a very impromptu video for the Mac users who are fans and supporters of the Peace Island project. I just want to say to start off with, developing for the Mac platform, if anything else, has been very interesting and challenging. And that is very curious to, I think, most people in the game development space because the Mac OS and hardware is every bit as capable of running games even up into the quote unquote triple A category. But for some reason, they make it very difficult. I would cite example. I mean, if you don't remember, Halo came out for Mac initially. I don't know whether it's still coming out for the Mac. In addition, Eve Online recently came out for the Mac. I know the hardware and I know the software to the extent that I know it's capable of developing a video game and delivering a video game on par with anything on the PC. Members of the quote unquote cult of Mac will deny this. They will say, well, the Macs are very special. I would say that Macs indeed are very special, but not so special that the people that use them can experience the same games that PC users can. And that is why, at the very beginning, we said we were going to develop for the Mac, but we did not understand the blockages that the Mac, that Apple in general and the Mac OS would throw in our direction. I think one of the reasons that so few developers haven't developed for the Mac is not so much the capabilities of the OS and the platform. It is the absolute lack of communication and support from Apple headquarters, the people in Sunnyvale, California, and that gigantic toilet bowl that looks like it was designed by Albert Speer. Now, pardon my sipping. This is customary. I'm not used to speaking at length, so I typically must keep myself hydrated while speaking with you. Now, I understand that on the PC side, we can develop, we can build on the, a copy of this, of Peace Island, zip it up, post it to any server, and any PC user can download it, extract it, and run it on their side. And not so with the Mac OS. The Mac OS requires their native compression and their native storage. Even if you create, Apple was so angry at Google. I don't know whether it's still the case, but it was the last time we tried this. We tried creating a version of Peace Island for the Mac, and it worked on our Mac. And we compressed it using Mac's a native compression, but then we made the mistake of uploading it to our Google Drive. Everything that's uploaded to a remote, storage solution is usually compressed, and usually 90% of the time using the using the PC algorithm. And so even though we created builds on the Mac, compressed them on the Mac, if we put them up on a non-Mac native remote storage solution, people could not, had problems, number one, downloading it, and number two, running it. They would get security concerns out the wazoo, and I still have to send directions of how to overcome Mac security concerns about our releases. Even though, again, the last version was made on a Mac, compressed on a Mac, and put on a Mac storage solution, remote storage solution. Even with all of that, Mac users, as those who are probably watching this will know, they still had a problem downloading, decompressing, and installing this. Now, it took us a while to overcome that. And when we did, essentially, it requires us to purchase online storage on an exclusive Mac remote storage solution. And the problems with the Mac OS do not just remain with the distribution angle. They are not on just exclusively on the distribution side of things. They are also within the Mac OS itself. Now, I'm very sorry. It looks like I left my Discord open. I am going to close that. So sorry. If you could tell that this is impromptu, can't you? Let me just see. Quit Discord. Yeah. All right. Fantastic. Um, um, Let me retrack my thoughts here. Yeah, it's the problems that we've been having in creating a Mac version of Peace Island have not only been restricted to the distribution side of things, they have been also within the project itself. Now, we have overcome them for the most part. Now, um, it took us a while because there are always conversion issues, and as I've stated before, this is absolutely true. In times past, I will say. Um, that developing for the Mac always allowed us to stream because the Mac doesn't put up with the same crap that the PC side does. Uh, it balks at things that the PC will just take in stride. So every time we release for the Mac, it allowed us to really streamline and remove bugs and memory leaks that otherwise we would have not spotted. And I apologize for the belching there. I had a garlicky salad earlier. It's my evening meal. So we overcame those, especially after an associate of ours joined the project, who's more of a Mac guy, and I can't proceed without giving you a little bit of an example of why the PC, well, not example, but an explanation of why the PC version was delayed for 8 weeks. There are so many times when we were working on this and we were so close to releasing, when a problem that we thought long solved cropped up again. Um, it first started with I thought we had solved that, like all the interiors were solved, and all the doors that led to the interiors were functioning properly, and we turned out they weren't. That was disturbing to me, considering I thought that we'd solved that many months ago. Then we found out all of a sudden that we were having a problem that the fog and certain environmental effects were shutting off as soon as a cat spawned in the exterior. And that was curious because I thought we had solved that issue months ago. Uh, and once we got that issue solved, guess what happened again? More problems with the doors and the interiors. Now, about, I would say, 5 days ago, we got a stable PC build. Now, the first time that I sent this video, I'm sorry, the project over. First time I sent this video, you'll have to forgive me. The first time that I sent the project over to Scotty, our Mac guy, to attempt to build, he said it worked. But the problem was, just like so many others were, he was having a problem entering a building that was right down here. It was called, it's the town hall, the Peace Island Town Hall. But what happened with him was it seemed that the scene, understand that every interior within Peace Island structurally is its own scene. It looked like that scene was not loading, and when he showed me the build settings, it turned out that indeed the scene was not even in his build settings. Now, understand, up until that point, everything was fine. He was able to run around the exterior, and he said it ran better. And that's mostly due to us replacing the flags downtown. We recently found out that there were previously about 8 flags that were flying on various locations in downtown. I mean, around the island. We only recently discovered those were sucking up 2 gigabytes of memory apiece. We've since replaced those, and since then, I mean, things were running really great. But the problem was that scene issue where I just said, listen, I know you can move into, you can, run around town, you go to these other things, other interiors, but the main problem is the town hall. And when he couldn't do that, that led us to find out that he didn't have the scenes. And again, I'm sorry if I'm retracing stuff, but I want to make sure that I set this up properly. Um, Everything was working fine. And all I did was send him a single file that did nothing but change three lines that were completely to include three interiors that were not included, including the town hall. Nothing else was changed. Absolutely nothing else. Nothing in the code. In fact, the three lines that we put in were absolutely, I mean, checked on both sides to make absolutely sure they were fine. We made sure that the game manager and other stuff that normally is problematic is brought was, you know, properly the version number of the game manager was changed because sometimes that can cause issues. Well, it always causes issues on a build, but anyway, we made sure everything was ship shape. All we did was change three lines in a single file, and now all we get is this. This is all we get on the Mac side. We get a blank loading screen with menus. Two menus. Not even. There is absolutely no logical reason why this is occurring. Um, and here's the kicker. Last night, I did an update on our Patreon. There's this old saying, when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. And I have to say that that's absolutely true. One should never assume. Um, because I thought adding those three lines would not prevent us from adding. No, adding those three lines would not prevent us from releasing. I'm sorry. I'm just. I think is I'm very upset over this. I'm trying to keep it bottled inside as I talk, so I'm sorry if that's coming out as me a little bit of incoherency here because if I gave voice to my frustration at this point, it would be just me screaming at the camera for about 5 minutes. After that, I just throw things and damage stuff, and all that would do is traumatize my cats. It wouldn't get the Mac version done. Um, so we are having to delay the Mac version of Peace Island. Um, because when something like this happens, the only way to really deal with this is to erase everything and start over from scratch. And that will take, unfortunately, a couple of weeks. And I sincerely apologize that this happened. I did not know that three lines of code and by the way, we undid those lines of code and we tried redoing it and we were stuck on this. We went over all pertinent files multiple times. And that's why it's so frustrating, why I want to scream. Because there is no logical reason either on in terms of coding, in terms of the Unity development platform, in the terms of so many things that this should be happening. But it's happening. Now, I will say this to the Mac users out there and that have supported Peace Island. And this will be in the Patreon post that I'm composing right now because understand we're just waiting for the PC version to get done uploading, after which I have to break this news. If you support the Peace Island on Patreon, whether it was $1 or you're still supporting us today, I do not blame you if you cancel our support. I'm sorry, cancel your support immediately. Because, well, straight up, I mean, it speaks for itself. Um, I didn't mean to break a promise to you guys. I didn't mean for any of this to happen, but there you go. Sorry, just seeing if anybody was over there in the chat. Thankfully, not. Um, but if you do cancel your support on Patreon, all we ask is you do not cancel your Patreon account, because here's the thing: we have always delivered a Mac version. It may have taken us 1 or 2 weeks, or 1 or 2 months more, but we always have. Because the number one thing that we've always stood by is we honor our contributors, and we will do right by them. And if you cancel your support on Patreon, but keep your Patreon account, we will still be able to send you mass mailings informing you of when we get the Smack version finally up. And I want to let you know I'm going to start working with people on the Mac side more intently to see, because here's the thing. This is the last bit of like kind of hope that I'm going to leave you, the Mac users out there. From what I understand, it is possible to create, and I'm just going to show you here. It's kind of hard to see, but you see Windows, Mac, and Linux. I could switch this theoretically over to Mac OS and build a Mac OS version on the PC. Now, I've tried this about 2 or 3 times. It never succeeded. But every time I've checked the forums, and every time I check, any reputable source about this, it is still theoretically possible. So what I'm going to be doing from here on out is I'm going to be attacking this on 2 fronts. We have a new person who's going to be assisting with creating builds, and also I'm going to spend a couple of days coming up, basically putting most stuff on the back burner, with the exception of setting up our Steam page and our Steam depository, because that might be another shortcut around it. Working with Mac users to get a workable Mac version out of this PC here. Because if Unity tells me it's possible, and the Unity community tells me it's possible, it should be possible. And I just want to let, again, Mac users know that this was something I never intended to happen. But again, we have never, ever not delivered for Mac users. And tell you what, if you're somebody from Patreon, I'll put this as an Easter egg at the very end. Whatever your contribution level, email us at peaceislandllc, all one word, at gmail.com. I'll write that on a text document, and we will send you a set of postcards. All we ask is that you send us your Patreon handle. So we're gonna I'm gonna type this all out. If you are a Mac user, we apologize for this unexpected and frankly illogical delay. Please send your Patreon. No, I did get the with your Patreon handle, and we'll send you again a postcard set. Send you a postcard set. Postcard, yeah. Sorry, a post. And by the way, the reason I'm so bad at typing right now, anybody, I mean, there are some people who think, oh yeah, Eric, he's just sitting there and like living on Patreon money and etc. You see, these are my glasses. I use, these were formerly made out of 3 different pairs of glasses because the original set broke, and I just put on different arms. Um, and hopefully, and if I put these on, I would look, I'd be able to deal with the world and things wouldn't look so fuzzy. But it would also look kind of strange because they're always like off center. I've got a new set coming in from Zenny Optical, by the way. I'm not doing an ad for them, but they are cheap, like 41 bucks. But anyway, that's why maybe bad typist right now. On top of everything else, I'm just like again stressed because as soon as I finish this video, by the way, I just oh goodness, dang it, the screen size. I'm sorry, guys. There we go. And I will make this very large so it can be seen to those who may be fast forwarding. Um, I was going to part with something. I forget what it was, but hey, I'll just finish with like we always say. We really appreciate your support, and we Mac folks, and trust me, we would have a heck of a lot more issues, fewer issues. Sorry, we'd have a heck of a lot fewer issues with distribution on the Mac platform if Apple actually had a support page for folks like us. They don't. They have it. They basically have it in their mind that the iOS devices are for gaming, but computers are a completely different issue. I don't. I guess they think it's for this magical creation thing. Again, I don't understand. I used to work for Apple Computer. That's what I should end with. I worked for Apple Computer back in 1989. Um, I was a data entry specialist. This was before the internet became really big, and and basically every time you had to register a Mac, you had to with a pen and paper fill it out and mail it to us at Apple headquarters. And I was one of those people who entered old school Mac users' info into the Apple database. And ironically, there's a guy here who retired here to Portland, Maine recently. Him and I started at Apple Computer the exact same year. He's now retired, um, but and it's just he stuck with it the entire time. Whereas I think I was there for about geez, I 7 weeks. I forget. Anyway, they had great food in their commissary, and we'll end with that. I'll have the Mac version as soon as I can, guys. I've never let you down, and I never will. Bye bye.